So let's get started. So GLPs from A to Z, welcome. I'm Nicolette Matthey, owner and founder of Atrium24, pharmacist. And we just really wanted to jump in today to show you just what's the latest, what the heck's going on with tirzepatide on the shortage list, what's going on with the co-op and the different pricing that we've been able to secure from specific 503Bs. What 503Bs have we vetted? What's in the pipeline? So let's talk about all that. And I want to tell you specifically today, because I get this question a lot. I just came back from Cardinal, and I just came back from Amerisource, and I'm getting a ton of questions like, what does Dotti do? How does Dotti help pharmacies? How does Atrium help pharmacies with all this? So I'm just going to show you, and then you can utilize all of our marketing materials. You can utilize our CRM, the data analytics that we're able to pull from your pharmacy to show you are really awesome. And then we did start a co-op because, quite frankly, it was frustrating to see that, you know, we have a ton of pharmacies ordering GLPs, dispensing GLPs, doing really well. But if they're all paying different rates across the board from the same 503Bs, a lot of times it's just confusing, right? There's a lot of layers of confusion. So we are able now to group our Dotti members together and then leverage that purchasing price. Okay, with all that. So what we're going to talk about tonight, GLPs from A to Z. Most of you are Dotti members. Dotti membership starts at $99 a month for our basic membership. I mean, you'll make that back the first prescription you dispense. You'll make that back multiple times over the first order you place with the discount that you get through our co-op. So we like to kind of get that off the table right away, the return on investment. Now you can register for the chosen 503B. We have online registration forms for the 503Bs that we've vetted in our co-op. So I'll show you how to access those too, because you can register through them through Atrium. So you don't have to call these companies or email them or try to find who actually works for the company, who might be an outside sales rep. You can access our co-op pricing. I'll show you what that looks like too with the products that we've vetted. You can order your products. And then from there, what you'll do is download your marketing materials, train yourself and your team so that you know how to speak to providers and patients alike, and just what the language is, why our pharmacy is able to compound this, what source are you getting it from, how do you know that it's pure, how do you know that it's actual semaglutide or tirzepatide, is it the salt form, is tirzepatide off the shortage list? You'll be able to answer all these questions with all the materials, resources, talking points that we have in Dotti. And I'm going to show you a lot of the FDA sites and things today, so you can certainly check those out on your own. And we have them all aggregated inside Dotti as well. You can utilize our pricing guides. So we help pharmacies on both sides of the spectrum. What should you be buying these things for, and what should you be selling them for? Because we get that question a lot. And then understand the regulatory landscape. We'll spend a fair amount of time on that tonight. So let's jump in. This is the co-op. This is the brand new co-op page. Atrium24.io is our homepage, just our website. And if you click on the top, there's this Atrium24 co-op. That's new. We have 2 503Bs in the co-op today. We have a few more that we're vetting, and I'm going to show you later on tonight just how exactly we're vetting them, what we're looking at with their FDA inspection reports and their 483 reports, which are like write-ups from the FDA. But on the co-op page, this is Medivant, the semaglutide pre-filled syringes. And actually, I have a couple of the boxes here. It's pretty cool. Medivant pre-filled syringes. This just started. The production line just started. So far in our co-op, I think we have over 50 pharmacies who have just gotten started with Medivant. I received word that our pharmacies who have placed orders have received their product already. It's really awesome. And these 503B drugs do come with an NDC. So our most successful pharmacies are actually creating just views inside Dotti that shows them the trends week over week of how many prescriptions they're dispensing, which prescribers are writing for them, what's the profitability metrics. So Medivant right now has 3 strengths. the 0.25, 0.5, and 1 milligram semaglutide. The 1.7 and the 2.4 are coming later this month, I believe. And then further down the pipeline is tirzepatide for them. So they don't have the tirzepatide pre-filled syringes yet. But when you open this box up, it's a clamshell. And then it looks like this. So it's a I took the lid off. We've been playing around with this. But it's a super short needle, as you can see. So these patients shouldn't be afraid of the needles at all. So anyways, that's in the co-op. That's Medivant. Medivant, so for no matter which strength you're buying in the co-op, it's $99 a box if you're a Dotti member. If you're not a Dotti member, it's $109 a box. What I'm hearing, if you just contact Medivant directly, you'll be quoted prices from anywhere from $140 to $210 a box. So the co-op Medivant that we've been able to secure has been pretty good. PQ, we have over 100 pharmacies in the co-op through PQ. And I'll show you exactly why PQ, they're the very first one that I started vetting. I've known the owner for over a decade. He's very compliant. His team is very compliant. They've been great to work with. So you can register through PQ now from the Dotti Co-op page. If you're a basic member, you get X% off the list price. Today it's 10%. If you're a plus or a pro member with Dotti, you get 20% off the list price. And then we have more 503Bs that are coming soon into the co-op. We're just working on vetting them. Hashim had a question about the pre-filled syringes. Is that for 4 doses? Yes. So each box, there's 4 syringes. So this is the patient's medication for 1 month. And the cost for the co-op is $99. I'll show you the retail pricing guide. I believe we're seeing on the lower strengths anywhere from $200 to $250. And then we're seeing it increase by $50 each strength. But we have those pricing guides inside Dotti as well. So the co-op's exciting. You can register on there. The order forms are here too. We're trying to make things as automated as possible. So once you register, order your products, you're going to want to go into Dotti and click resources. You'll load your logo into Dotti. And then we have a 503B Medivant folder. We have a weight management folder. We have a GLP support and logistics folder. We have almost 200 marketing materials in here now. So sometimes it's easier just to search what you're looking for if it's like pricing or semaglutide. But we're constantly adding new materials in here in the resources. So patient marketing. When you download, so this is the pre-filled syringe, like a patient sheet, and Dotti automatically puts your logo on here. It already has the product image photos, all the information. So on the left side is like a sell sheet for the Medivant syringes, and on the right side is a bag stuffer. So when you download it from Dotti, you can just let patients know compounded injectable tirzepatide and semaglutide now available. And then we just have like a dummy address in here, but your address will go on this material and then your logo will go. A lot of our pharmacies are printing these out, cutting them into 4s, putting them on every bag that they dispense for the prescription. We've had pharmacies really successful taking these sheets and actually like loading them into their Pioneer software to dispense with certain prescriptions, to fax to providers, to email to providers in case you don't have a boots on the ground rep or in case you're not able to make it out to the doctor's offices. So that's been successful. Also in Dotti, you'll want to download your prescriber marketing materials. So this is an example of an RX order form. And this is just a snippet of it. But when you download, we have different versions because I know different states are iffy. So this one is a fully loaded RX order form. You have your logo, you have your contact information, you can type fax to or email to in this blue box is what we recommend. But this is for the pre-filled syringes. Some states, you're not allowed to put your logo on an order form. So we have those versions as well that you can just straight download it without branding it. Some states don't let you have an order form at all. So we have an idea sheet. So it's branded, but it just has the information of how a prescriber would call it in or e-scribe it in, but it doesn't look like a prescription. And then on the right side is a prescriber sell sheet. So this is more geared towards prescriber language. See how it says like GLP-1 agonists? You wouldn't put that type of verbiage on a patient sheet, if that makes sense. So those materials are there. This is a webinar that we have inside Dotti. So if you're a Dotti member and you haven't watched this webinar yet, we had 4 pharmacy owners who are doing very well with the GLP opportunity. And they showed how they've drastically increased their profits inside of their own pharmacies. So what specifically are they doing? So if you're in Dotti, just click on the Learn menu on the left, and you'll find this webinar, Get the Skinny, How Your Peers Have 5x Their Profits with Compounded GLPs. So I know everybody loves to hear from other pharmacies and how they've incorporated it. I do want you guys to let me know the next webinar that I want to do. I want to talk about workflow and operations. So I'm getting a ton of questions coming in asking like, how are you packaging these things? Are you using the kangaroo pouches to ship them? How many blocks of ice are you using? What's your rate with FedEx or UPS? How is your team incorporating this into the workflow? So I wanted to try to compile all that information together and then put it on a webinar in a couple of weeks for our Dotti members. Now, here's the caveat. And anytime I try to do a webinar with like group participation, it doesn't go that well, I'll be honest with you. A lot of people like to hear what everyone else is doing, and they like to kind of lurk and listen, but they don't like to share. So what I'm going to start doing over these next couple of weeks, I'm going to start reaching out to you if I know that you're dialed in, but I want to know how you're packaging these things. What kind of workflow hacks have you uncovered? What kind of patient education materials are you putting in? What are you doing with the syringes, the alcohol swabs, the sharps containers, all that kind of fun stuff. So don't be surprised if I start reaching out to you guys. Oh, thank you, Jeff. Jeff said he'll share. So question here, are the NDCs loaded in SureScripts for electronic prescriptions? That's a good question. I don't know. If anybody knows if the NDCs are loaded in SureScripts, I do know that the 503Bs do have NDCs because they are registered as manufacturers, but that's a good question. I don't know. I'll have to find out. Jack said he doesn't believe that they're loaded in SureScripts. And don't let me go down a rabbit hole because I'm learning. So SureScripts is kind of like the single source. And since there was this big Change Healthcare single point of failure, right, SPOF, actually First Data Bank is creating their own highways for e-scribing to parallel SureScripts. So I'm learning a lot more about that too. It's super interesting. So don't let me rabbit hole there. All right. Good question though. We'll find out for you. Retail pricing guides, download these in Dotti, figure out what you should be charging. Now, I just took like little screenshots of the first couple doses, but on the left is vial sizes. So if you're doing like a 1 ml, we're seeing suggested retail pricing of the 2.5 milligram per ml. That's the most common strength. But you guys, I'm seeing strengths all over the board from these different 503Bs. So it's getting to be kind of confusing. I'm very tempted to create an e-store like we used to do for the COVID tests. If you've been with me over the years and you remember, I want to create an e-store and create all like individual products so that you can see just what is everybody ordering, because it's a little cumbersome. Everybody has these order forms and these different strengths and concentrations and vial sizes. But anyways, 2 ml, 2.5 milligram per ml vial of semaglutide, I'd say that's like the gold standard. We're seeing retail pricing from $250 to $300. Now, on the bottom of these pricing guides, our clinical pharmacist, Annie, has written in, of course, this is what we're seeing across the country. You do need to assess your market and where do you need to be competitively, right? So I know we have a guy out west, and in his backyard, practically, he has a 503A sterile compounder. So their cost of goods are much lower, and they're selling to a bunch of telemedicine. So their prices are like rock bottom low. So in order for him to compete, his margins are not as healthy, but his volume's really good. So he's still doing pretty well. So you just have to kind of take all those things into consideration. We have clients in South Beach, Miami that are charging a lot more than this. So it just depends where you are. On the right-hand side, we have the GLP pricing guide for pre-filled syringes. Like I said, you start the lower strength off at 200, and then you can kind of increase it, I say, by $50 as you go up each strength. But remember, on the pre-filled syringes, your cost is $99. So I don't think that's too bad. Someone said that Olympia's semaglutide does not need to be refrigerated. Do the pre-filled syringes require refrigeration? This is interesting. So we talk a lot about stability studies, and if you talk with the most compliant 503Bs, it's important that while it's a compounded product, it's a commercial copy. So these 503Bs are allowed to compound commercial copies, okay? So something that struck me is, while they're making a commercial copy, they're not allowed to claim superiority, and it has to be a commercial copy as much as possible. So they should strive to make everything exactly the same as the Ozempic, as the Mounjaro, the Zepbound, the Wegovy. So even though some of the stability studies say that it can be left out or it doesn't require refrigeration, the kind of the gold standard in the practice is that they do ship it cold chain, that they do keep it refrigerated. I just worry, and we've kicked this around a bunch. I just worry that patients might be off put if they receive medication that's warm, or if they're told it doesn't have to be refrigerated. So with that long-winded answer, they do ship these pre-filled syringes refrigerated, like they do cold chain ship them. Because I visited their facility in Arizona. So they do package, usually they ship 20 boxes at a time. That's how you get free shipping. And then they do have it all cold chain shipped. Stability studies, I mean, you might be able to leave it out, but I would try to not, this is just me, I would just try to not claim superiority and tell the patients they could leave it out. I know there were some 503Bs that were shipping warm, and like we're in Florida, and I mean, I have clients in Texas and all that, and it gets really hot. So I would hate for the peptide to degrade on that. So let's jump into, how does Atrium24 vet a 503B? And I'm going to show you, I'm going to walk through some of the sites that we look at, but of course we verify their FDA registration as a 503B. We review any of the facility inspection reports. If they have been inspected, most of the time they will receive a 483, which is kind of like a write-up from the FDA. You can expect that if the FDA is coming on site and spending 2 weeks, like, once or twice a year or whatever it is, you can expect that they're going to find something and write it up in a 483. What's important is there a release of the establishment inspection report? Meaning, was that 483 closed out? And I'll show you examples of that. We verify their state licenses. I like to do an on-site visit for 503Bs that are going to be in our co-op. I like to just meet their compliance officer. I like to see the facilities. I like to understand the process, because through our co-op, like, we're sending a lot of pharmacies to these places, and I'd hate for their infrastructure for them to fall in on themselves, because you might be able to place your first order, but you need to make sure that you're going to be able to get continued medication supply from these places. So we inquire about their quality team. We ask them about their methods for testing their API and look through their paperwork, methods for testing their final product, because the 503Bs, they test the product when they get it in from the sources, usually FDA inspected manufacturers in China. And we even look into the manufacturers in China to see, do they have a DMF? Do they have testing of their product? And then we'll review the certificate of analysis. Interestingly, the 503B is not required to send a C of A to pharmacies with the completed product, the vial, because they're shipping you a manufactured product. So it's not like when you order the API, the powder itself, and you receive a C of A. But I do believe that PQ, for example, if you ask for the C of A, they'll send it to you. And I'm sure others will as well. But we also look at their beyond use dates, and their shipping. How is the product shipped, and what can our pharmacies expect? So what I mean by that very first bullet point, verify FDA registration, that's here. And so all these links, Annie's loaded into Dotti as well in the GLP support and logistics folder. But you can even just Google like FDA registered outsourcing facilities and this site will come up. There's about 70 something of them. I'd say maybe only 10% are compounding semaglutide and tirzepatide. So like 5 to 10 503Bs. But you would click on here. And so this is who's in the co-op currently. So I just took from this page, I scrolled down, I found PQ and I found Medivant and I screenshot them and I put it in a slide so we can talk about it. So PQ Pharma, you'll see, okay, so facility name, PQ Pharmacy in Brooksville, contact name and phone number, the initial date of their registration as an outsourcing facility, the date of their most recent registration as an outsourcing facility. This column is important here, the end date of the last FDA inspection related to compounding. Was a form FDA 483 issued? Yes, and if it's like hyperlinked like that, you can click on it and you can read what did the FDA find. Was a recall conducted? That's bad. When a recall is conducted, that's bad. So what can happen is the FDA comes on site, they do their inspection, they write up a 483. Things that can happen is they could recall the product, they could shut down production, they could, of course, write up a 483. Now, the best case scenario is you want to see an inspection. You either do or don't want to see a 483. I mean, I believe based on what we've been researching and kind of rabbit holing that it is somewhat inevitable. But you want to see, was a recall conducted? No. And then other action, if any, based on the last inspection. So this FMD 145 letter issued, that's a closeout letter. That means that the facility has responded to the 483 to the FDA. The FDA is satisfied with the response and with whatever sort of they rectified with whatever the FDA found, and then the FDA closed it out. So you can also see the dates. The dates are important too. You see how with PQ, their inspection was October of 2022. Their closeout letter was March of 2023. So what is that? 6 months, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 months. That's actually very short for a closeout. Once the FDA comes on site and writes the 483, then the pharmacy, I just read a response to a 483 today that's being submitted. And it's like, I don't know, 15, 18 pages, just the response from the pharmacy back to the FDA. And then the FDA, on their own timeline, on their own timetable, right, reviews that, maybe goes back and forth. So from what we've seen, and I know maybe I'm a bit biased on PQ because to me, they're the gold standard. I know them. They're very compliant. They're very good people. And so many of our pharmacies work with them. They got their 483 closed out quickly. You can click on this 483 too and read it. Let me see. I got a question popped up. Yeah, somebody said that's incredibly short, 6 months. They tend to be very drawn out. So yeah, that's what we're seeing too. Now let me show you this. The next one here that's in the Atrium24 co-op is Medivant. Medivant is the DBA. The parent company's name is Tailstorm. So we have a pharmacy client in Maine who was trying to verify the licensure of Medivant in Maine. And they couldn't find it. So they had to look it up under Tailstorm. So it's important just to kind of know who's who, but Medivant is Tailstorm. Tailstorm has 2 facilities, 2 locations. I just visited the one in Phoenix because one is their vial facility and the other one is their prefilled syringe facility. So their vial facility was inspected back in 2021. Look, they got a closeout letter. It was quite a while later. But their prefilled syringe facility has not been FDA inspected yet. I did go on site. I did meet with their quality team. I did review their paperwork. I reviewed all their processes. I was thoroughly impressed. They use a certain type of glass syringe that can only be sourced from Italy. It's the only syringe of its type that doesn't leach the product. Because if you would like leave the product in a pre-drawn insulin syringe, you would affect the stability and the product would leach. So I do feel that since this is such a novel product, and since it's all made fully by automation and machines, like the medication is put into the pre-filled syringe and stoppered all by machine. And these people know what they're doing. They've been inspected before. They're not new to the game. So we felt comfortable putting them in our co-op. But rest assured too that we're watching it. Now Medivant, we have a state listing in Dotti. They're only licensed in like 30 states or so. Some of the states, for example, like Alabama, they can't get registered there until they have their FDA inspection. So we're watching that closely. Another state for Medivant, for example, South Carolina, they're not registered there yet, but they do have all their applications in. They're just waiting for the state board. So it's interesting. It's something to watch. We're definitely watching that. We're currently vetting, and I even hesitated putting this in here for you guys, but I just wanted it to be like what I know, you know. So these are companies that we're currently vetting. So Olympia, if you follow me on social media, you saw that I went and visited Olympia in Orlando. I like them. I mean, they know what they're doing. They have a very, very, very robust 503A program. They sell to tons of offices. Matter of fact, when I had my pharmacy, we had a prescriber come into the pharmacy and rent out space. And then that prescriber had an account with Olympia. And we were ordering like the MIC and the different weight loss injections before the GLPs were a thing. So Olympia's been selling to prescribers for a long time in offices. But of course, as we know, 503B selling to 503A pharmacies is a new phenomenon thanks to the FDA clarifying that that is an allowed practice. So anyhow, if you look at Olympia, they just had another FDA inspection because see, they were originally registered as an outsourcing facility in 2014, 10 years ago. So they just recently in the end of May, was that 3 months ago? Not even 2 months ago. They just finished another FDA inspection. There wasn't a 483 issued, no recall. See, it's open. They don't have a closeout letter yet, but I know that they're working on it. A lot of these companies, I even sign NDAs because it's proprietary business information for these companies. So we're watching it. They're working on it. There hasn't been any sort of anything blatant that I've seen, but it's open. We're vetting Olympia, especially if you're in Georgia. I've had a lot of Georgia pharmacies reach out to me because you have a lot of competition for price points. The price points that we're working on with Olympia for a very specific product might be good for you in Georgia. Also, Olympia has Trimix. So our clinical pharmacist, Annie, is making an ED program for Trimix. We're excited about. We're going to get that in the co-op for Atrium, get you guys significant discounts on Trimix. There's about 40 different SKUs for Trimix. So it'll be important for us to make a program that resonates with enough prescribers and is appropriate for enough patients without you having to stock 40 different SKUs of different concentrations of the Trimix for erectile dysfunction. The next one that we're vetting is ProRx. They're based out of Pennsylvania. ProRx, they're licensed in just a handful of states. They're new. It says here, not yet inspected. They actually just finished their inspection. Like last week, the FDA came on site, inspected them. So they're just working through that right now. We'll keep our Dotti members updated on that. But ProRx just got their inspection. So we want to look through the 483. We want to see what's going on with them. We want to see their plans. I put on the bottom here, Empower. So a lot of my Dotti clients have been reaching out to me, telling me that Empower in Texas is calling them. Why they're calling them, I don't know, because I've been in communications with Sean, the CEO, and they're not selling to pharmacies yet. They don't have plans to sell to pharmacies from their 503B until Q4. And I mean, I don't know, man. I'm wondering if it's this new facility. I have a call with them next week, but I'm wondering if it's this new facility that was just registered, like a month ago, that's not yet been inspected. Maybe that's the one they're going to do 503B through. But that says Empower Clinic Services in New Jersey. But it's still Sean Norian, who's the CEO over there. Empower Pharma in Houston. Now, Empower, like if you go to an esthetician or like a Botox lady or whatever, if you go to a clinic, if you go to a Medi Spa, they buy stuff from Empower. Empower's huge. They might be the biggest in our country. So from that side, from the clinic side, but they're not selling to pharmacies yet. So we're interested not only in what's hot right now with semaglutide and tirzepatide, we're also interested in what else are these 503Bs able to sell to pharmacies. So I mentioned Trimix with Olympia. PQ Pharma, before the FDA approached them and asked them to make semaglutide, PQ, their big business was sterile eye drops for cataract surgery. So they're able to take a few different eye drops, put them together, sterile, preservative-free. So I still think that's a great opportunity for pharmacies to go and market to local cataract surgeons, if you should be in a city big enough to have that, for PQ's eye drop program. So we're also making clinical materials for that, marketing materials for that, because I think that's another great opportunity. Only Olympia for Trimix is a question that came in, none of the others yet. Yeah, I've not seen anybody else on the Trimix yet. No other 503Bs that I've found that we've been vetting offer Trimix. But if you find any, let me know. We do have some pharmacies piloting out Olympia, and we have pharmacies piloting out the Trimix through Olympia. ProRx, I had some clients order from there. Woo, how much does it cost to start a 503B facility? Is very expensive because you have to be CGMP. You have to, the standards are incredible. So it's expensive enough to start a sterile compounding facility, but to start one that's FDA inspected and registered, just the amount of testing you have to do, bioburden testing, sterility, toxicity, testing your API when it comes in, investing in all the machinery and equipment to be a CGMP manufacturer. I think it's interesting. I think it's also very, very expensive. Haley Dimitri, who owns PQ Pharma, he's also a sterile consultant. So if anybody's seriously interested, I can get you in communication with Haley because he does that as well. He's been consulting for sterile for a long time. Oh, this is a good question. What about sterile hormone compounded options? Are they coming? I believe so. So Olympia, they offer sterile hormone compounding, derm compounding. They offer a lot of things on their 503A side. They're building out a new 503B facility that they said that their hope is to offer those things through 503B. I also visited Hollandale in Fort Lauderdale. They said they're building a 503B that'll open next year. They're only 503A currently, which means you have to central fill. So there's a lot going on in this market. So Empower we're watching, but they did have, look, they had 2022, their facility in Texas was inspected, had a 483, and there was a regulatory meeting held last May. So what's going on there? Why isn't it closed out? What am I missing? So I have a lot of questions for the folks at Empower when I have a call with them coming up. So rest assured, if you're a Dotti member, we're vetting this stuff. We're working on this. We'll gladly sniff it out if there's anything to learn. The tirzepatide shortage. This was all the uproar this past Friday, right? Because if I scroll forward here, when you click on it on the FDA drug shortage list, Eli Lilly came and said that all doses of Mounjaro and all doses of Zepbound are available. So everybody was like, oh my gosh, what does this mean? Does this mean that we can't buy it from 503Bs anymore? Does this mean we can't compound tirzepatide if we're sterile? What's going on? Well, look, if you go to this, and you can even just search FDA drug shortages, but this is the URL that you'll go to. I just typed in TIRZ, I typed in like TIRZ and hit search. So you get tirzepatide injection. It still says currently in shortage. That's the most important point. That means 503Bs are still able to compound it and sell it to pharmacies. 503As are still able to compound it. It's currently in shortage. The fact that Lilly, the drug manufacturer says that it's available, that's only one data point. So now the FDA they're going to take their time and they're going to look and see, is it actually available? Is it able to meet the supply? Is it able to meet the demand? Is the supply able to meet the demand that patients, pharmacies, prescribers have for this drug? But even if you look, I mean, this is from Cardinal today, the higher strengths of the Mounjaro are not available. And even if you tried to order the green ones in Cardinal, if you try to order like 10 boxes, 15, you're going to get allocations and rejections. So it's still unavailable in the market. Even if Lilly has, I was reading stockpiles, even if they have stockpiles, it's not in the market yet. It's not available. So this is important. To report the drug shortage, you'll want to go to this this website, this portal, and we'll have this URL loaded in Dotti as well. And then you'll want to use these NDC numbers to actually report the drug shortage. This is the way that the FDA is going to know from our pharmacy perspectives that this drug is not available. It needs to remain on the shortage list. So I would definitely make sure that you're reporting and make sure that you're asking all your like friendly pharmacies to report as well to keep this thing on the shortage list if it truly is in shortage. Okay, so let's see. Also, we're currently vetting telehealth solutions. I'm really cautious in promoting telehealth companies and telemedicine. The legality, I do have some pharmacies piloting it out under their own gumption. It was something they want to do, but there's 2 different companies I'm working on with our legal team just to determine how does it have to work? How does the patient pay for it? This one company is using tokens. They're saying that the pharmacy can roll the cost of the telemedicine visit. It's like $39 into the cost of the medication and buy tokens. And to me, it just seems like a lot of moving parts. So before we say like, hey, pharmacies, this is something you should do, I just want to be sure and comfortable. So we're working on it. I was actually supposed to talk to my lawyer today, but we just had a hurricane come through here in Florida. So everybody's a little out of sorts. But stay tuned. There's actually 2 companies. And what's cool is you can load your formulary and get your own link so that whatever SKUs you're carrying, whatever concentrations, vial sizes, pre-filled syringes, sublingual semaglutide compounds, whatever you have, you can load it into your own branded link. And if you're a Dotti Pro member, we've even made custom marketing materials with QR codes. We've made pull-up banners and all these things for our pharmacies so that they can get the word out to their patients. So what I want you guys to do, and I'm going to be very self-serving here because we have a ton of information and I know we can help you increase your profits. And what we're seeing is $30,000 to $50,000 within the first 60 days, which I'm very pragmatic. I'm not an overly optimistic person, but we're seeing it. We're seeing it over and over again with these pharmacies who use Dotti, target their doctors, download the marketing materials, distribute the marketing materials, get the order forms and the sell sheets out, post on their social media, order from the 503Bs. Like, it's super exciting. But if you go to Atrium24.io, you sign up for the free trial. There's a free 14-day trial in the basic and the plus memberships. On the top, there's a button to end your trial early whenever you're ready to be like, okay, I'm done with the trial. I want to download the materials. I want to access the co-op pricing. Dotti is an annual term. So once you end the trial early, now you're into Dotti, you're an official member. It's an annual term. You can cancel it at any time, but like with any software, it's a 60%. You're responsible for 60% of the remainder of your contract. Or you may downgrade. So if you want to be like a pro member, have us completely customize all your marketing materials, work with us one-on-one in consulting and setting up your sales system, your strategy, helping you target your doctors, like actually consult with you and share best practices. And then you wanted to downgrade to plus or basic down the road, you certainly could. Because we know things change in pharmacy. Somebody asked a question that's pertinent here. Has Dotti worked with a brand new pharmacy startup from day one and any successes from that pharmacy? could be a weight loss program, or could be outsourcing 503Bs to provide various compounds. Yes, we have actually. We've had a few that I can think of off the top of my head. They opened their pharmacy and they started with Dotti right away. That's actually a really good way to do it, because right from the beginning, you're focused on which prescribers am I targeting, what marketing materials am I using. I'm documenting my outreach efforts. I'm watching my profitability. So it's just a targeted way to go about it. So if you go to our website, Atrium24.io, we have a demo video on there of the software itself. We have a lot of information. You can click pricing. You can see the different membership tiers, basic, plus, and pro. But you can click start for free, and that's where you'll start your free trial. Clicking start for free takes you here into Dotti. You'll just fill out information about your pharmacy. You'll sign your data release form. That's what loads your CRM with all your doctors. That's what loads your dashboard with all your trends and metrics, because we send it off automatically to your PMS. This is where you'll choose. So basic, $99 a month has a free trial, plus $4.95 a month has a free trial. In basic, you get information for the data share. You can see what everyone else is dispensing and what they're charging. You could drill down by state. You just can't tell whose pharmacy it is. You get a task board, so you can like task yourself or your team to call or fax or visit certain prescribers. You do get the doctor detailing CRM, where all your doctors are loaded. There's also an NPI database, so you can search, like, show me all the OBGYNs in these zip codes, add them to my CRM. Let me send them these marketing materials. You can access all the webinars and e-courses in basic. You can access a few pieces of general branded marketing content, but you can access most of the GLP branded marketing materials in the basic, $99 a month. And plus is where you can access all like the 40 other programs. OBGYN, we have a ton of compounding programs, derm, vet, PCP, and that's where we'll be loading the ED program. We have ketamine materials in there. We'll be loading the eye drop program and the plus membership. You get the full sales dashboard. You get all the analytics on your pharmacy and your dispensing. You get a bunch of resources on sales reps and plus position agreements, compensation arrangements, and models, all the policies and procedures on if you wanted to hire a sales rep. And then pro is $13.95 a month. That's when you get the one-on-one consulting, the completely customized marketing materials. Somebody says, once the data release form is signed and executed in Dotti, is there a sharing ownership with the data? Do you mean, do we share it? Because we don't share any of the data. It's all in Dotti for you and for the data share, but we don't have any types of agreements where we provide any data with anyone outside of the Dotti tool. So when you start your trial, this is what just the very top part of the dashboard looks like. It'll tell you how many days are left on your free trial. You can't download the resources until you're an actual member. You can see the titles of them, but you can't download our marketing materials while you're in the trial. But if you click this end free trial, it'll be a pop-up and it'll say, okay, you're going to enter into your membership, your billing's going to start. Like, are you sure you want to end the trial? So as soon as you could sign up tonight, click end free trial, load your logo in Dotti and start downloading all the marketing materials and be off to the races. Then that's where you would click here on this order here. And that takes you to the co-op page. So you can register for PQ, you can register for Medivant, you can download their order forms, you can order at the co-op prices. And we will be adding more 503Bs, more information there as they pass our vetting. When you're in Dotti and you click resources, if you click download on one of them, it'll ask you to select your pharmacy. And then as soon as you click download in real time, that's when it puts your logo and your contact information on the marketing materials. So it's really cool. You don't have to wait for anybody to do that. What else did I put in here? So co-op pricing, and this is the last thing that I have, and then we can open it up to questions. So Medivant, like I said, Dotti, it's $99 a box. For non-Dotti, it's 109 a box. That's for the first 3 strengths that are available now. The prices will increase incrementally from what I'm being told, just as the strengths increase. And then on PQ, if you're a Dotti Basic member, you're getting 10% off list pricing. If you're a Plus or a Pro member, you're going to get 20% off list pricing. With those order forms, they do come to us at Atrium just to make sure they're filled out appropriately. And then we verify your membership before we send it off to the folks at PQ or to the folks at Medivan. So that is that. If you guys have questions, email us hello@atrium24.io. You can sign up for Dotti off our website, atrium24.io. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I'll definitely keep you updated on our co-op, new products that we're entering into it, new pricing, new 503Bs. But stay tuned. Thanks for your time and attention tonight, and I'll talk to you guys soon.